once you've got an available market and you've sold them tongs that are going to last their whole lives.
It's made like
Now
a
what?
leather.
Wow. These are amazing.
Bit of biltong, smell of oak, fresh one.
Okay.
Have a seat for some contemplation. What a journey, eh? We started the journey like not even knowing what we're going to make.
I know. I'm amazed. In a week. Here we are, high-end folding chairs, eating biltong and drinking Hog House Pilsner.
Oh,
Okay, so we start from the beginning.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. I feel like I need to turn a little bit more towards you. So, left last night, had the idea concept nailed, like a really cool prototype, been through a couple. I think you and I were both really stoked about the direction this was going in, and more than the direction, like actually the product that you're going to come up with. We had plans to shoot this morning. I was like up early, ready to get all my work done, like super excited, and I got your messages say, handbrake, hang 10 a minute, we're having some snags.
Yeah.
So it's like late in the afternoon now on a Friday.
Yeah.
What happened?
Man, this is DWC just reminding us that creativity is a journey, and even the simplest tasks that you think are going to be like, that we'll just smash that, that's an easy one, those are the ones that actually you got to work. Like, I mean, we work with all these materials all the time, but the biggest reminder for me was actually just how hard it is to work with upholstery.
Yeah.
Leather and upholstery is justifiably a massive profession. It's every time I've worked with it, I feel like I've been humbled back to learning from the beginning. It's like just the way materials move or don't move, how to wrap them around corners, how they stretch. I mean, that was the issue. The one I thought, cool, we're done. We're using thick shoulder hide leather. Like, this is done. This is, we'll be ready by 9 a.m.
We're sitting on them, so you've got it done.
We have got it done,
What did you learn about leather? I mean, you cover your chairs in leather, so it's not like an unknown thing to you. But,
and I've worked with leather
obviously not slung it between two pieces of wood.
Yeah, I mean, you just keep learning. Hey, I think that leather stretches far more than we realize. It's an organic material. This particular part of the cow, the shoulder, this kind of neck shoulders part, is probably thicker and softer from the creases.
Right.
I think there's that part that I had no idea. I actually didn't even know you could buy that section. I think also just in certain places, like when the tolerances are tight, in this case, like if you have a big slung chair, there's a lot of space for it to just stretch in general and kind of works out. Like a big deck chair. Works out more or less. But in this case, like we're only this far off the ground. We don't want to go lower down. Like this is what we've got to work with,
So how did you solve the problem? So the problem was that the leather was stretching too much, and you were just sitting too low.
So we just had to keep trying to find ways to reduce the stretch, which was actually quite a challenge.
Yeah.
Started out with different types of webbing, and besides like how it looks, just trying to get it to not stretch, and ended up finding that actually seatbelt material, the literal seatbelt, the actual seatbelt of a car.
Okay.
That stuff doesn't stretch, which is awesome. It's obviously cross-woven so many times.
How did you find? How did you find it?
I went down the road to the upholstery shop around lunchtime today, thinking this is probably not going to work, but like we're desperate here. Amber and I started prototyping. We started prototyping for like possibly changing the seat completely from leather to something else. Like let's go across to weaving synthetic materials. But I didn't want to. I really wanted leather. I felt like this whole seat needed leather as the kind of, just the feeling of it.
Yeah.
So I drove down the road to the upholstery guys, and standing there chatting to the chap behind the counter, and I just said to him, is there not a thicker type of webbing than the one we're using? And he's like, yeah, there's the seatbelt stuff. Have you tried it? So let's go, let's look at it. And it absolutely doesn't move at all.
Okay.
And it's cheap as chips, which is also fascinating because they save our lives. So.
Yeah.
So the seatbelt material, and then basically what I've done is glued it between the layers. So I've layered up the leather. So there's like a lot of support by gluing it and stitching it as well on top. So it's a lot of work. But It was super cool to learn, and I think the most interesting thing was just that I didn't know that it would work right till the end when we actually sat on it. Like all the way along, I'm going, I don't know. And with most of our work, we do know. We work with materials and joints and
ergonomics
things.
of a chair, you know well. You know the dimensions,
and we know when a bolt pulls in really tight, that's going to work. This is sort of this unknown thing. Like, how much will it stretch? I mean, they do stretch still. There's still some stretch.
Well, for comfort, you need some stretch. Some stretch, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable in this.
And what we've intentionally done is got the seat belts running on the sides and left the middle, so that the middle does develop a little bit, because I think that'll be comfortable. We'll develop a little bit of stretch in the middle.
I'm delighted by the fact that it has seat belt weaving in it, because I mean, I've been saying design something intensely personal for you. We talk about cars a lot, you and I, and so there's meaning in that, in the camping experience, and you need something to save you, and the seatbelt saved you.
It did.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's a great story for this chair.
Oh man, crazy.
Look, I've had a close look at it before I sat down. It's super impressive from like a finish point of view. And we talked about that being a challenge, because we were designing what we believed would be a groundbreaking, luxe, small, meditative camping chair, folding camping chair. And for all those things to be in place, it needed the fit and finish needed to be great. It needed to look like it was someone that's going to lay out some cash for it, and it does. I love the brass details in it. They're quite subtle. They're not big brass studs, which I like. It blends in. It fits the color-wise with the palette of the wood. Aesthetically, it looks really considered and finished. I really love the stitching. So great to see your sandal skills come out there again.
Listen, I stitched the first sample, and then we went over from my old machine to John's machine, and I was like, no, it's chalk and cheese. John's machine's got the power and the adjustability in the stitch, and mainly his needle size is thicker, so you could get a thicker thread through, because my machine's using quite old school cotton thread. It was amazing. So this stitching is John's, this is not mine. Mine was not bad, but this is like next level. And I sat with him, and I watched every stitch go in. I was like, John, we're going to do this super slow, no rush here. I said to him, if you get this right at the end, I want it to look like an Italian craftsman. I'm going to start calling you Romano. Mario.
So and you've produced 2 of them?
Well, actually, because one's for you.
Really?
This is the thank you gift for the week.
Okay, well, that's very generous, and thank you. I mean, I'm super happy with it.
I'm thinking maybe we'll take ours, go for a walk up the mountain.
Well, and
when it's not raining, we'll go and do like a nice, go and have a contemplation up there.
I think that's a good idea. We'll go for a run, and then we have
a run.
Are you happy with it?
I'm so happy. Like I was happy a while ago, but it wasn't working. But I was happy with like just visually. I felt like conceptually, like we've arrived at a cool place, and I think particularly because the challenge this time was quite unique, and it was the challenge you put to me, which was to design something uniquely personal. And a lot of this, I actually spend so much of my time working with these dowels. I find them really they're like a muse to me. And the way that it's kind of brought in the camping, sitting down low, leatherwork, it feels like such a collage of my life, actually, it's actually been such a treat for me. It's all these things kind of put together, as well as a lot of making a plan, which is another part of my approach to design. That's so big.
Solving.
And not kind of being too stuck on it needing to be a certain way, but being like, okay, well, look, that way doesn't work. Let's make another plan. Like, what are we going to do?
Well, congrats, Luke. You've kind of exceeded what I thought was going to happen. I'm super chuffed to have been part of this. It's been like a memorable experience for me. And you produced a really beautiful thing, so it's quite unique, I think.
Thank you.
And I love the story behind it. So well done.
It's comfortable. Cheers. Comfy.
Super comfy.
It's like, this is such a natural way to sit. Like, so low down, it feels so good.
It's so good. So good.
Shoot.
There we go.
Maybe you can lift it up and just take us through what's actually going on.
Okay.
Because we haven't had a little
Like a detail kind of.
So there's some signature creaks, which is super cool in wood, and essentially it's a folding chair. The leather's obviously brand new, so it's not going to be very worn and soft, but at some point it's going to start to fold flat like that, hopefully, after more and more use. And then you get to walk around with it, which is cool, nice and flat. I still plan to make like a little bit of a bag for them to carry, which I think will be nice going up the mountain, not having to hold it.
It's got a natural handle space there.
It's got a natural handle space, so we try to keep this space here for your hand.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just fold it out and sit down. That's it. There's nothing more to it. It's got some cool canvas underneath, which looks nice, and a hem, which I felt was important.
Yeah.
Both strength-wise as well as just visually, it's super nice to have this rounded edge. And then we did like a detail on the timber, where we cut rebates in here just to like seat the leather and give it a bit of consideration.
Okay, on both.
On both of them, yeah. And otherwise, it's there's nothing to it. It's just pieces of wood going through each other.
Yeah. And structurally, you're confident of its integrity. Yeah?
It's glued together, and the brass rods are kind of mechanical fix as well, but the glue's doing the most of the work.
Okay.
And the tolerances is super tight. So even before we glued them, they were just about impossible to take apart. They were super tight.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I love the little detail there.
This is nice.
So it's called
a seat for outdoor reflection.
Yeah.
So that's what this is called. And I mean, I didn't want to prescribe too much and say that it's a chair or a stool or whatever. It's a seat. Anything can be a seat. A painting is a good seat. So this is what this one is, and this is. I think ideally, like if you have a seat like this, it sort of forces you to say, hey, like let me use this thing. Let me go and have some time of contemplation or reflection. I mean, we live really fast lives and there's a lot going on. So actually to go and take a seat like this and actually do that intentionally is, I think it's a good practice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And nice and flat to sit in the boot of the car, not take up too much space. And there we have it.
Yeah, I think that's, this felt like the right thing to do. It was given the time frames you had. To design something that had meaning, was pretty simple, and you had the time to finish it properly.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what you've accomplished. Yeah.
I also like how the patina's already started.
Yeah.
Check the lines. It's already started.
It's the same kind of thing on my one.
Yeah.
I love the fact you've got your little logo in there.
Yeah.
As well.
We actually etched these on with a mini laser cutter. The text.
Okay.
That's how we got that on. Yeah.
So it folds this way. Eh?
Yeah.
And down. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Is that a wrap?
That's the wrap.
I think that.
Yeah. 2024. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yo.